how to get a copywriting client step by step. This is what's worked for me. I'm at $4.4 thousand a month. I didn't think I was going to get here, but I promise you it's possible. You just need to understand the foundations and these couple of pillars that really changed the game for me. So, number one, identifying your distractions. Just to get personal, I definitely had a video game addiction and still have issues scrolling social media for hours on end. I've implemented different productivity tools. I've implemented different systems in my day-to-day life, yet I still find myself really only scrolling social media. I've completely removed video games from my life. That's no longer an issue, but the scrolling social media has been a big problem in my life, and it may be in your life as well, or it's a video game, or it's people. Whatever that distraction is that's taking you away from the work that you know you need to be doing, that is a big problem. I do want to add, don't just remove your friends from your life completely if they're, a distraction. Maybe just step away a bit, and instead of 5 days a week, it's like 2 days a week hanging out with friends. You just have to have a good system and a good amount of balance between the work and the play. And so something that really helped me was this thing called an 80-20 power grid. Essentially, it lists all of your day-to-day activities and it puts it in order from most important to least important. You can find that in the community. I'll actually link it down below. Find out the tasks that lose you money, make you no money, and make you the most money. The only tasks I've done since I started this journey 70 days ago now was the tasks that made me money. Creating my swipe file, making example templates, help a bit, but it's not going to make you money. It's probably more so in the $0. It doesn't earn you money, but it doesn't take away money. It's great, but you need to be doing the tasks that are 20% most important in your day-to-day life. That's what I focused on for me, and it's probably for you if you're a beginner. If you don't have a client, ask yourself, what do you think you need to be doing? It's probably outreach. I'd say 95% of the people watching this video, if you're a beginner and you don't have a client, you need to be outreaching. So again, one, identify the distraction and figure out how to manage it. Just to give you an example of how important my time is to myself, I really, really value my time. I have gotten a BlackBerry cell phone. If you see this, this is kind of funny for some people, but the reality is nobody can really reach me unless it's a close friend or family member that I truly care about. They send a text message to my iPhone and it gets forwarded to that BlackBerry phone. And if it's an emergency, obviously I'll respond, I'll give them a call. But when I'm working, it's time to work. And when I'm out, hanging with friends, that's my playtime. That's my kind of let loose time. And you need to have a balance of both, okay? So again, manage the distractions. If you want a list of all the productivity apps, the devices, the systems that I use that may help you, I really recommend checking the description. It's all, I post about it on all my social media, but it's most specifically in my school. It's all in one place in that school community. Highly recommend just at least checking it out. So I mentioned step-by-step system, but you got to start with finding the distraction that's pulling you away from the work. You've identified the distraction, you've managed it. Now what? What am I supposed to do? This is what I did, and most people will disagree with this. I've seen a lot of content creators disagree. I think anyone as a beginner should be starting out on Upwork. So why would I recommend Upwork as opposed to cold outreach or cold DMs? I sent, I want to say, 23 or 27 pieces of outreach via Upwork, as opposed to cold DMing over 1,000 people. And I booked 3 calls with my, let's just round it, let's say 30 DMs on Upwork. I booked 3 calls. Whereas on my cold DM, I sent 1,000 and I booked 1. So if you want to save time, if you want to get a client as quickly as possible, and a lot of you guys watching these videos are trying to get that first client and get that case study and get that testimonial, I would start on Upwork. Again, it's going to save you time. Yes, it does cost money to apply to jobs, but those leads are hot. You need to understand how Upwork works. These people, these businesses are looking for people to just do the job. And if you can speak English, or at least not even, you don't need to speak English, just you know how to write copy and write, you're going to likely get the job. I'm not going to say it's a cakewalk. You need to know how to optimize your profile. You need to know how to send proper outreach, but it's going to teach you the fundamentals of getting a good open rate, of getting a good response rate, of getting a good booking call rate. And you start figuring these things out, and I learned them from Upwork. I'm only speaking from my experience. I've done both. Cold DM does work, but you have to send a lot of them, and it is tough. That's the reality. It's very tough. So the next thing that I really want to talk about this step-by-step system that I've been talking about of how I got my first copywriting client. So I started with the distractions, and then I moved to Upwork. And lastly, it really just boils down to your consistency. So if you want to get even more knowledge on what I did, I was sending between 15 to 30 proposals on Upwork every single day. So I'd wake up around 7 a.m. I'd start outreaching right when I got out of bed. And I mean, it only took just under 30 days before I got my first client. I promise you, you can do the same. And this goes for cold DMing. This goes for emailing as well. You just have to be very consistent with your outreach. That is the most important part. This whole step-by-step system doesn't work if you are not consistent with your outreach. That is what's going to take you to the next level. That's what's going to get you your first client. And I didn't understand that. I did a lot of practice, a lot of reading, which is great. I recommend everyone does that. But what's most important is the amount of outreach you are sending every day. If you look at your calendar and you have no calls booked for that week, that's a big problem. I didn't understand that. Now my problem is having too many calls per week. Between 5 to 10 per week is absurd. I can't even believe I have to turn down people because I just can't handle. I can't take all these new clients on. And so that's the stage that I'm at, and you can get there as well. But again, you need to understand those 3 steps that I just talked about, right? Identify the distraction, outreach, I recommend Upwork, and staying consistent. That really is all that it takes to get your first client. I also want to talk about the type of outreach message, because I think a lot of people leave that out. What outreach message do I send to these prospects? To summarize, all you need to do is use their first name or their business name. To summarize that, get personal. The more personal you are with every piece of outreach you send, the more likely they're going to respond to you. I find it true time and time again when I don't use a first name, or I don't use their business name, or I don't use something that's very relative to their life, there's a good chance they may not respond. They might, but they're really interested when they see something that relates to them. I mean, I personally open outreach messages when I see that they're talking about, maybe this BlackBerry. Hey, Trey, saw that BlackBerry. That's an amazing hook. That's an amazing opener. You have my attention if you send something like that. So be unique, try to stand out. And you get a lot of these ideas for outreach from the books that I talk about all the time, which I'll link them in the description. They're in the school as well. But there's so many different angles you can take with outreach. But again, just to summarize, be personable, be as personal as possible, leave a PS with a question. That really is as simple as it gets. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I can't recommend it enough. Go through my social media and look at the type of content that I post about, because what's going to end up happening is you'll understand more about copywriting. Just download a couple of my Instagram reel scripts and you're going to start to see the patterns that I talk about in my videos. You're going to understand why I post so many YouTube videos I try to do every single day. the funny part is this is a copywriting, I'm seeking better understanding of copywriting is what I'm trying to say. Posting these YouTube videos, I'm beginning to understand what thumbnails perform best, what YouTube titles perform best, the preview text in the YouTube video. It works the same as email. And so I'd also recommend just post YouTube videos explaining, documenting your process, because you will get clients. You will attract people based on your findings and what you're learning about. Again, I hope you gain some value from this. I'm actually going to start doing a 30-day challenge where I document the entire thing from A to Z on how to get a client, the type of outreach messaging I'm sending, to hopefully educate some of you, because I think this is definitely helpful for some, but I feel that it may be getting old at some point as well. I'm kind of sprinkling these types of advice every single day. I think it can get hard. And I don't want to just talk about nonsense all the time. I want to talk about actual value. So I hope you gained value. If you did, let me know in the comments. And reach out to my Instagram as well. You guys are always hitting me up on there. I'm always helping you guys out. See you soon. Talk soon. Later.